Here we have the 2-hour price chart for Intel Corporation, stock ticker INTC. Here we can see some very interesting recovery movements higher in the stock. As we know, as I covered yesterday, there were some major declines that were seen throughout the technology space. Almost every major, technology stock fell victim to these declines and experienced bearish selling pressure. There were massive declines in Tesla, major declines in Nvidia. Meta platforms broke through major support levels. Apple was trading much lower, but and Intel as well. Intel also, as we can see here, experienced some declines. But as we can see here, we've already recovered all of those losses. Um, and it's clear that the recovery here has been much stronger than it has been in some of these other stocks. If you're looking at the Mag 7 stocks, Apple's probably done the best job in the group as far as recovering yesterday's losses. But overall, a lot of those stocks are really just basing out. They haven't really recovered prior losses. Even Apple hasn't recovered all of those losses yet. So the spike high here in Intel is quite interesting because it's showing that there is a significant amount of bullish momentum here supporting this stock. This follows a tremendous period of sideways trading activity. I've gone over this in prior videos. I won't beat it to death here. But as I've explained, previously, once you see when you see a long-term trading range like this, what it means is that there's a period of extreme indecision in the market. Essentially, the market doesn't know what to do. Should we go higher or should we go lower? Should we buy or sell? There were many people in the market, large numbers of people in the market, still making bearish calls on this stock, suggesting that it's now going to fall into the 20s, mid 20s, low 20s. There were several bearish calls on this by fairly big names in the business. And these people have just turned out to be completely wrong. I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, is this stock already not depressed enough? Like you really believe that further, how much further can the stock really fall? We're approaching $0 at some point here. So these recent these recent moves higher, very interesting because what we're seeing here was a period of extended sideways trading activity. The conventional wisdom when this type of environment prevails is that once we do see a breakout, whether it's positive or negative, it's likely to be forceful in nature. I mean, that alone was really an argument against the potential for downside because a break from $30 to $25 is not a forceful break. It's a mundane kind of boring break. You really would if you were going to try to sell the stock as a breakout strategy to the downside, you wouldn't be making very much money. That's not a very impressive level of follow through if we're only moving into the mid 20s. So clearly the path of least resistance here literally was to the top side, and we can see that this is what unfolded here. And even in instances where the technology space is being essentially attacked with bearish trading activity, and the major companies are losing significant market cap and share value. Tesla fell all the way to 233 from 271. So it was a major decline that was seen throughout the technology space. But declines in Intel were relatively limited. We did have some warning signals here, and I'll get to that in a moment. But the main point here is that the ultimate declines were not extreme. They followed a period of upside surging price action. And we did manage to find support at relatively predictable levels. Here we can see that, we really didn't close below this 20-period exponential moving average. This level did really contain prices, and now we've moved higher to such an extent that we broke the prior highs. This is significant because the prior highs really marked a double top resistance area. We were seeing some very strange, erratic trading action here with some of these candles, and as you can see, these are heavy bearish candles. I mean, there's a lot of downside pressure that's developing here, but the losses were minimal. I mean, we really posted highs here of 35.15, and then the ultimate lows came in at 33.32. I mean, we're talking about $2 here. not even $2. Like, this is not a massive decline here. And then the recovery happened just as prices were moving into the 20-period exponential moving average. And now we've posted new highs here. Apple has not done that yet, and none of the other stocks have done that either. None of the other major tech companies. Most of those stocks in the Mag 7, most of the Mag 7 stocks are really just kind of forming a base here, and it looks like they may or may not start to rally higher. But look at the activity in Intel, and what this tells me is that the underlying momentum here is quite strong. Why would that be the case? Probably because we had such a long period of sideways trading activity here. It's a period of indecision in the market, and energy is essentially building here. And the stock is ready to explode once a final outcome has been reached. Are we going to move higher or lower? Some people thought that this was going to be lower. I would say most people probably thought this was going to be lower. If you go out and check, most of the projections that have been made about this stock, they're not favorable. The market doesn't have a positive view on Intel. So overall, what we can see here is that, upside momentum has been building for quite some time. If we're looking at the 2-hour chart history here, so each candle here represents a 2-hour trading period. We can see that positive momentum has been in place for quite some time. The relative strength index reading continues to move higher. We did see a bit of a move here into overbought territory, almost extreme overbought territory. We're reaching peaks here of close to 90. You would need to see a move above 90 in order to be considered extremely overbought. But this is an incredibly high, relative strength index reading. You don't see this very often. Tesla has posted chart activity like this recently, but for the most part, you don't really see share prices move into heavily overbought territory like this. You can't see it anywhere else on this chart. If I go back, there's a bit of it December 2023, and then some more of it November 2023. But for the most part, this type of price action is not, would not be considered to be common. So, overall, what this tells me is that we have made a significant breakout out of a long-term period of sideways consolidation. The declines here have been minimal when compared to what we've been seeing in the rest of the tech space, and Intel has already recovered all of its losses and then some in the time that it's taken most of these other stocks to simply try to form a base. So what this tells me is that we are still looking at a very strong prospect here for significant moves to the top side. And I do think I'm proud of Intel here. It did a very good job. This stock really stood up in the face of some fairly extreme selling pressure, and we've already recovered all of those gains, all of those losses, and then some. We've actually posted some gains here following those periods. So overall, this is highly supportive for the outlook, and it does suggest that the recent breaks higher are not to be considered false breakouts. Here's the current market analysis for Intel Corporation, stock ticker INTC.